From around 3150 to 30 BC, Egypt was ruled by kings and queens called pharaohs who, in addition to drinking wine and eating like, well, kings, spent their days overseeing the religious, economic, cultural, and political life of Egypt. If you were an Egyptian royal, chances are you'd never get a second to yourself. These royal entourage members consisted of hangers-on from the royal court, usually officials, family members, noble servants, and royal bodyguards. Ancient Egyptian royals couldn't be caught dead without the ultimate elite accessory. Wigs were a serious ordeal in ancient Egypt, so much that they even had laws that outlined who could and could not wear wigs. Legally, slaves could not wear wigs, and the more elite you were, the better the quality of your wig. Royal wigs were the most elaborate, and they sometimes included gold and silver threads. Considering how hot ancient Egypt must have been, those must have been some sweaty and stanky wigs. Wigs weren't just for the tops of royal heads. Pharaohs sometimes wore beard wigs for special events. Why did ancient pharaohs wear beard wigs? Beard wigs became a symbol of a pharaoh's power, and they were worn to show that they were living gods on earth. With great power comes great responsibility, aka back-to-back meetings. According to the Greek historian Diodorus, all their acts were regulated by prescription set forth in laws. While the vast majority of ancient Egyptians practiced monogamy, kings were allowed to have multiple wives, and oh boy, did they love flexing that bit of power. Male pharaohs had a great royal wife, or chief, highest-ranking wife, along with a number of lesser wives and concubines and harems. Those harems, according to author Charlotte Booth, demonstrated the wealth of the king. In other words, the bigger the harem, the wealthier the pharaoh. Being a member of the harem wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, especially considering the pharaoh could demand appointments with a given wife every night. Yikes! These relationships all but ensured the pharaohs generally had lots of kids. Ramses II, for example, is reputed to have fathered over 100 children by his wives and concubines. Only royals could hunt big game like lions, though pharaohs sometimes allowed other elites to participate. Going on hunts wasn't a necessity. As kings, pharaohs had all the food they needed prepared for them, but it was a form of entertainment for king and court alike. And they didn't even need to have any hunting skills to do it. Sometimes a game master would pre-catch an animal for the king to dispatch. Cheating was okay if you were a pharaoh. But hunting wasn't just a way to blow off steam after a long day of pharaoh duties. Pharaohs used the royal hunt as a chance to demonstrate their strength and showcase, in scholar Peter Lacavero's words, the king's prowess in mastering the natural world. King Tutankhamun appears to have been no exception, and a scene in his burial tomb depicts the young king returning from an ostrich hunt. Pharaohs may have played up their connection to divinity, but the ancient Egyptian rulers were just as mortal as everybody else. In fact, many of them were probably straight up unhealthy. Frequent intermarriage and incest produced shallow gene pools. King Tutankhamun, for example, probably suffered from genetic problems that gave him a limp. The royals' fatty, carb-heavy diets also took a toll. Pharaohs could be overweight, and many of them suffered from heart disease. Do you think your family has baggage? Try being an Egyptian royal. Sometimes a pharaoh's authority was challenged by members of his or her own family. In 1155 BC, Ramses III was done away with in something called the harem conspiracy. In this instance, one of his wives, Tai, probably orchestrated the whole debacle so that her son could rule.